When my girlfriend went to the service area restroom, she forgot to disconnect the car's Bluetooth. Her voice messages with her best friend played one after another in the car. She was comparing me to others and planning to test my loyalty with beautiful women. She kept saying she was only joking with me. When I turned around and started talking to someone else, she cried and begged me. The internet didn't say that. During the May Day holiday, I went with my girlfriend Rina to visit her parents. On the last day, we drove back to the city at noon. As soon as we got in the car, she complained that my playlist was outdated. She fiddled with the central control panel, trying to connect her Bluetooth to play music. Rina doesn't have a driver's license and has never driven before, so she got flustered quickly. Such a crappy car. Why don't you help me? She snapped, giving me a nasty look. I had to drive and try to calm her down at the same time. Finally, the music kept getting interrupted. These 3.5-minute song was stopped more than 10 times by notifications. Rina was sitting in the passenger seat, busy replying to messages on her phone. She was snacking and drinking a large cup of milk tea the whole way. Halfway through, she started getting restless. She kept urging me to find a service area. Drive. Faster, faster. Don't you know people have urgent needs? She kept saying. Soon we reached the next service area. Rina jumped out of the car quickly. I rolled down the window, about to take a smoke break, when suddenly the music stopped and a girl's voice came through. Are you still going to test his loyalty? People can't resist temptation. What if he falls for someone else? Didn't he do well at your home? Are you just playing with him? The 20-second voice message got louder and louder. Rina must have turned up the volume in the restroom when she realized there was no sound. When the message ended, the music resumed. But soon after, the music stopped again, and Rina's voice came through. What did you send? Why is there no sound? Victor is willing to give a bride price of $300,000, and my parents are quite satisfied. But the test continues. You have to keep a man on edge. Can't let him think he can marry me easily. After 2 years of playing hard to get, he finally passed. The message cut off, probably because Rina tried to listen to her own message and realized there was no sound. What kind of test is this? Just playing around. What does Rina think I am? When Rina returned from the restroom, I stood a short distance away, smoking and pretending not to notice. She got into the passenger seat, saw that the Bluetooth was still connected, and quickly got out of the car, looking at me suspiciously. Baby, have you been smoking outside the whole time? She asked. I flicked the cigarette butt to the ground and stepped on it, speaking calmly. What's wrong? Seeing I wasn't upset, Rina looked away. Nothing. Let's go. She wanted to get back to the city quickly so we could queue at that popular restaurant. She always wanted to eat. When we finally got home, I hesitated before asking, Baby, what do your parents think of me? Rina didn't answer. As usual, she kicked off her shoes, fanned herself with her hand, and went into the bedroom in her slippers. I'm tired and hot, not going out to eat. You go cook. I'm hungry. She'd been wearing high-heeled slippers all along, one facing up, the other down, both kicked off outside the door. Usually I'd pick up her shoes and put them away, tidy the entrance. But now, seeing the scattered shoes, the veins on my forehead throbbed. I didn't want to be the perfect boyfriend anymore. Rina has always been like this. She always looked neat. When we first started dating, she kept the house tidy. But after we moved in together, I soon realized she was very messy. Every time. I returned from a business trip. The house was a disaster. Snack bags were scattered on the bed. Trash was left with bugs in it that hadn't been thrown out. Worn clothes piled up on the bay window, and she would pick relatively clean ones to wear again the next day. Whenever I mentioned keeping the house clean, Rina would raise her manicured hand and dismissively say, My hands aren't made for housework. She believed being a considerate boyfriend was the best quality in a man, and she saw it as an opportunity for me. One day, I kicked aside an overturned shoe and went straight to the sofa, picking up her tablet. Sure enough, her WeChat was still logged in. Rina loves playing mobile games, and although the tablet was mine, she used it all the time, so she felt safe leaving her WeChat open. I browsed through her chat history. Rina, from her own experience, gave her best friend a lot of terrible relationship advice, like Men are all scumbags, always test his limits, never lift a finger for housework, only buying gifts brings excitement. She also told her friend, "You can't be afraid of him. Now Victor is easygoing, but if he argues with me, I'd slap him to show I'm not to be messed with. You have to kick them hard in the beginning." She even said she was just playing with me. She bragged to her friend about how she felt accomplished because I kept bringing up marriage. She doesn't have a job yet, but demands I give her gifts every month to satisfy her sense of ceremony. I thought she genuinely wanted to marry me, so I tolerated it. Little playfulness from women I could handle. I was starting to see she was just playing me. Over these 2 years, her constant demands and the arguments were just her tests. She'd say, "Marrying me isn't that easy. The tests aren't over yet." She even found a scumbag tester on Xiaohongshu who would use a secondary account to tempt him. "If Victor stays true, I'll consider marriage," she said. She'd reassure me, "Don't worry. Men want to get married more than we do." One day, Rina came out of the bedroom in her pajamas with a face mask on, spent the whole afternoon in the car. "I'm exhausted," she complained. She also said the car is too old. "Before we get married, we should buy a BMW 7 Series and put it in my name. It would look good as a wedding car." She has no job and no savings, yet dreams big, I asked. "My parents are available any time. When do you want to go to my place to discuss the wedding?" She replied. "No rush. First, agree on a brand new car, a bride price of $280,000. The traditional 5 gold items and the customary money for changing the way we address each other." Then she glanced at me and added, "Oh, I just found out there's also a clothing money custom in our area, just $180,000. What does she think she is, a national treasure?" She raised the price on the spot again. "For the new year," she said. The bride price was $180,000. I agreed, and we started talking about marriage. Now she wanted to double it. Seeing I didn't bite, Rina knew to soften her tone and proceed gradually. "Baby, I was pampered since childhood. Once-in-a-lifetime marriage, of course I want the best," I retorted. "You keep postponing the marriage? What do you really mean?" She acted coy. "What's the rush? If you want to marry me, you have to pass the test." I was tired of hearing that, and my attitude cooled. "Rina, I'm giving you one last chance. Don't try to raise the price on me. Marriage or breakup, you choose." Rina noticed I was angry, but remembered those successful posts she saw in Little Red Book. Naturally, she wasn't willing to settle for just $180,000. She sat cross-legged on the sofa and changed the subject. "Let's not talk about this." Having gotten my answer, I didn't feel like arguing anymore. I forced a smile but didn't move. Driving was tiring. I don't want to cook. And since we weren't getting married, she added, "Besides, there's no need for me to cook every meal. I'm not a housekeeper." Hearing this, Rina got upset and forgot all about taking things slowly. She was used to bossing me around at home. She stretched out her leg and kicked me hard. "Don't think meeting my parents means you're safe. They don't have a good impression of you," she snapped. "And I even spoke well of you. Now you don't even have the qualities of a good boyfriend." It was funny. She was tired from sitting in the car, but I shouldn't be tired from driving. Stop comparing me to others. I finally yelled loudly, veins throbbing. "Break up and go date her boyfriend," I shouted. Rina was stunned. She didn't expect me to yell at her after she'd been okay with such comparisons before. "Victor, how dare you yell at me?" she exclaimed. She threw off her face mask, jumped up from the sofa, and slapped toward my face. I dodged, but her slap hit my arm, burning hot. Before I could react, she started hitting me repeatedly. I pushed her away. "Don't think I won't hit you back," I warned. She came at me again. "Come on, hit me if you dare," she challenged. "How dare you yell?" "At me," she yelled, hitting harder and harder, grabbing things around her to throw at me. Suddenly, the anger I'd been holding back exploded. She was eating my food, spending my money, and still trying to dominate me. F***, you. "We're breaking up," I said, grabbing her arm with one hand and swinging my other in a big circle. The sound of her slap echoed sharply. The living room was so quiet, you could hear a pin drop until her phone's notification broke the silence. "You actually hit me," Rina shouted, throwing our photo frame onto the floor. The glass shattered into pieces. She stormed into the bedroom, her footsteps loud and heavy. When she came out, she'd changed into outdoor clothes and glared at me from the sofa. Break up then. I'll find a new boyfriend right away. I don't regret it, she said, grabbing her suitcase and slowly heading toward the door to change her shoes. I stood up, and Rina thought I was going to beg or coax her like I usually did. She snorted and straightened her posture, trying to look important. But I lay down on the sofa, facing the other way. Take your stuff and get out, I said quietly. What? Rina slammed the door with a thunderous bang. As her footsteps faded, I suddenly sat up. My father's message was still on my phone. Don't forget to bring your girlfriend home for your mom's birthday. I felt conflicted. From talking about wedding plans to suddenly being single, I didn't know how to tell my parents. I sat alone, smoking half a pack of cigarettes. Over the next 2 hours, I packed all of Rina's things into boxes. I messaged her to come pick them up the next morning, but right after I sent it, a red exclamation mark appeared. She had blocked me. Whatever. I stacked the boxes by the door out of the way. Out of the way? Then I reset the smart lock and registered new fingerprints. Finished, I went downstairs and ordered 4 pounds of crawfish and some barbecue. I used to save money for gifts, never allowing myself to indulge. Now, it felt great. Just then, 2 new messages popped up on my phone, probably from the scumbag tester Rina hired. I felt a thrill, thinking I might finally get to play a mind game. Lisa, I heard you and your girlfriend met the parents over the holiday. Are you planning to get married, Lisa? Did Auntie Wong approve? I got excited for nothing. The next morning, during a business meeting, my assistant rushed into the conference room in a panic. I was about to scold him when he whispered that Rina was causing a scene in the public area. I hurried over. What do you mean by leaving my stuff outside and deleting my fingerprint? I asked. Rina raised her eyebrows and threatened. Apologize or I won't forgive you easily. Seems you've forgotten everything I said before. Can kick you out any time, got it? She snapped. She thought that saying this would make me panic and buy gifts to appease her like I used to. Before I could speak, another woman's voice suddenly cut in. Victor, is it always this lively at your company? A woman in a tight red dress and high heels pushed through the crowd toward us, twirling a lock of black hair around her finger. What's this? Are you so in love that you can't be apart even at work? She teased.
Ow, with her striking features.
In tall frame, she easily stood out among everyone. Rina's face changed as she looked the woman up and down. She couldn't believe I had such a beautiful woman by my side. Victor, who is she? She asked sharply. No wonder you deleted my fingerprint after meeting my parents yesterday. You found someone new. Shameless, she spat. No matter how pretty she is, she's just a mistress picking up leftovers. Her sharp, malicious voice cut through the air. I cut her off loudly. Shut up, I said firmly. The woman's name was Lisa. She was my childhood neighbor and playmate 2 years younger than me. As a kid, she was a crybaby, always tagging along with me. We grew up together. During our adolescence, we'd had a mutual attraction for... Well, I thought that when we got older I'd pursue her as my girlfriend. But unexpectedly, right before high school, she left to study abroad without telling me and disappeared from my life. It wasn't until last year that she reappeared this time as a sophisticated woman and a client hand. We reconnected. Over the years, her personality had changed, and now she always had something to say whenever we met. I thought Lisa would be angry when she heard Rina's harsh words, but surprisingly, she stepped closer. Her slender, white wrist looped around my arm, and she gave Rina a seductive smile. I've always wanted this, she said softly, but unfortunately, he never gave me the chance. Her tone carried a hint of melancholy, making it sound like she truly meant it. What a drama queen. I pulled my arm away and looked directly at Rina. Did you forget we broke up yesterday? Your choice, I said coldly. Rina clenched her fists, staring at Lisa as if she hadn't heard me. Victor, if I report you for having an affair at work, you're done for, she threatened. Lisa sat on a nearby high stool, her long legs crossed, looking proud and haughty like a swan. Her expression radiated arrogance. Let me remind you, she said calmly, you two have already broken up? Rina gritted her teeth. An office romance? Your boss will fire you, she snapped. Lisa shrugged nonchalantly. Go ahead and try, she challenged. Our company could be mine in a heartbeat. She wasn't lying. Her family owns Yuxing Group, a giant in the industry. Buying our company would be a breeze for her. Rina's expression flickered briefly, but then she steadied herself, convinced she still had the upper hand. Victor, she said with a smirk, if you want to make up, you'll have to beg me. I gestured for her to leave. Get out, I ordered coldly. She glared at me but didn't say anything, turning to walk away. Once she was gone, I muttered under my breath. I didn't know you had acting skills, but next time, give me a heads up if you plan to help. Finally, she was gone. Who told her to have such bad taste? Lisa moved closer, and I caught a faint familiar scent, something I hadn't smelled in a while. The smell was familiar, and I could still feel her touch on my arm. I shook my head sarcastically. As bad as yours, I said dryly. Single since birth, and still have the nerve to talk. I turned and headed back to the office. Are we going to discuss the collaboration, or just gossip? I asked, already prepared with a comeback if she kept mocking me. But Lisa didn't reply immediately. Instead, I looked back at her. She wore a rare, genuine smile, different from her usual sarcastic attitude. She looked truly happy. In the sunlight streaming through the window, her fair skin had a slight blush. I could almost see her old, innocent self. Quietly, she was a beautiful woman. Just as I started to appreciate the moment, her smile faded, and she reverted to her usual, aloof self. No need to discuss. Just sign the contract. I'm in a good mood today. Earlier, when she'd been giving me a hard time in the meeting room, she wasn't like this at all. It was the weekend my mom's birthday. Got home early in the morning, and Rina was already sitting on the sofa. My mom had only met her once before and looked uncomfortable. When she saw me, she let out a sigh of relief, pulled me into the kitchen and asked, she hasn't said a word since she arrived. Is something wrong? I told her honestly, Mom. Rina and I broke up. Hearing that, my mom's eyes flickered with a brief moment of hope, but she kept her composure and said, I'll go cook you to talk. They'd only met once, and it wasn't a pleasant encounter. While Rina was testing me, she also looked down on my parents. My parents aren't stupid. They could sense it, but they endured it for my sake. While my mom was preparing lunch, Rina wore a smug look. Your mom, an uneducated rural woman, must be hoping you'll get married soon, she sneered. How will you explain our breakup to her? I looked at the expensive gift bag labeled Bird's Nest by the door. Did you buy this? I asked. The Bird's Nest gift was worth several thousand yuan, my first time seeing her so generous. Rina glanced at the gift bag. I specifically came to celebrate your mom's birthday, she said. You should take this opportunity to make peace. A slap and a sweet date. Didn't buy it. I grabbed Rina off the sofa and opened the door. Don't come to my house again. Take your stuff and leave, I ordered. Rina had hoped to impress my mom on her birthday and maybe reconcile with me, but she didn't expect me to show her the door before she could say a second word. She didn't want to leave, turned her face, and started struggling and shouting. Ah, I'm not leaving. Let go of me. Stop pulling me, she yelled. Victor, you shameless scumbag, she screamed. I didn't understand she used to leave right after meals, never wanting to stay longer. Why cling now? Oh no, don't. Fight, don't fight. My mom hurried out of the kitchen, hearing the commotion, and stepped between us. Son, talk this out, she pleaded. Rina, thinking we were ganging up on her, shouted and pushed us around. She shoved my mom hard, causing her to stumble back and hit the shoe cabinet, clutching her waist in pain. You're all bullying me, she yelled, lunging at my face with her nails, leaving a burning scratch. I fought to keep my emotions in check, barely stopping my clenched fist from swinging at her. Just then, the door creaked open. Lisa stepped inside. My mom saw her and cried out for help. Lisa stopped them. Lisa looked at my face with a frown. On the next second, 2 loud slaps echoed through the room, and Rina went from manic to stunned. Standing still. Are you clear now? Lisa said, shaking her hand, which was hurting from the swing. Did you dare to hit me? Rina snapped. glaring at Lisa with resentment, mixed with fear like a scared little animal. She was always a bully at home, without the glow of romance. Everything about Rina made me sick. Breaking and entering. Assaulting the owner if you don't leave, I'll call the police, I declared firmly. Lisa helped my mom onto the sofa and dabbed my face with a tissue. She rolled her eyes. Does it hurt? Why bother about gender now? If you're hit back, she said casually. I smiled. Isn't that what you're here for? I teased. She played along, and I was happy to go along with it. Rina cursed a few more times before reluctantly walking out. On her way to the door, she reached for the bird's nest gift bag. But Lisa stopped her, placing the receipt on the coffee table. The receipt's here, enough to charge you with theft, Lisa said calmly. Rina gritted her teeth, avoiding my gaze.
You're stealing?
I'm just looking, she muttered, slamming the door behind her. In August, Lisa invited me to attend an industry exchange fashion gala. After 3 rounds of revisions, we finally finalized our product. Lisa and I attended together, both wanting to seize the opportunity to promote our new product within the industry. Many management-level individuals from various companies were present. Unexpectedly, I ran into Rina there. The gala had invited many influencers and models to set the lively atmosphere. Rina, wearing a chic Chanel-style dress, mingled among the crowd. When she saw me holding 2 glasses of fruit wine, her eyes widened in surprise. Victor, you followed me here? She asked, smirking. I'm somewhat famous now and I'm pretty, I replied casually. I know you want to reconcile, but it's too late. She looked me up and down. But this isn't the kind of place you should be, she started to say, but I turned around. I grabbed a piece of cake from the dessert table and ignored her ranting.
Although we hadn't seen each other in 3
months, I occasionally got messages from unknown numbers with photos attached, some of Rina partying. Screenshots of her account with 50,000 followers on a certain platform. There were pictures of gifts and accessories, all clearly sent by her herself, trying to show me she was doing well and make me regret leaving her. Her smile grew brighter. You've been struggling since you left me, resorting to working as a waiter just to get in here, she sneered. Before she could finish, Mr. Wong, from a competitor company, approached. Mr. Yi, let's prioritize our collaboration, he said, extending a hand. Let me add you so we can communicate easily. Rina looked stunned. Collaboration? She echoed. Isn't that a waiter? Mr. Wong said, glancing at her, confirming she wasn't a business partner. His expression grew serious. Mr. Yi is a technical expert, he added. How could he be a waiter? Didn't they tell you not to speak out of turn? Rina was momentarily dazed. She'd come to the gala to liven up the atmosphere. The organizer had emphasized that the important guests weren't to be offended. She hadn't had a chance to join the technical discussions earlier. When we were dating, she'd never cared about my work, so she'd never thought I'd be involved in this kind of event. By the time she looked up again, Mr. Wong and I had already walked away. As a representative of my company, Lisa had to socialize with several industry giants. Halfway through, she found me and haughtily asked me to help her block drinks. In truth, she wanted to introduce her network to me. We exchanged greetings and toasted with many moguls from her father's generation. When no one was around, Lisa raised her glass to me alone. Victor, thank you for coming with me today, she said softly. She raised an eyebrow. You look really handsome in that bespoke suit. I like it. I teased her. You make it sound like I'm not usually handsome, even when I am. Before I could finish, she leaned in and put a finger on my lips. Don't say hurtful things. You were like this back then? Her words trailed off. I asked, back then what? She didn't answer. Instead, she propped her chin on her hand, staring at me with a dreamy look, seemingly lost in her. Memories. Her deep red V-neck dress showed off her fair skin, with a hint of pink on her cheeks from the lighting. Despite many influencers and socialites at the event, her striking looks and stunning figure made her stand out, drawing plenty of attention. Maybe it was the alcohol, but her gaze grew a little ambiguous. Sitting here chatting and laughing with you, I've dreamed of this many times over the past 5 years, she said softly. We grew up together as childhood sweethearts. How could I have been so blind to choose my ex? Lisa disappeared 5 years ago, just before the college entrance exams. Meeting her again felt a little strange and distant. I had wanted to ask her why she left, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Finally, I took the chance to ask, "Why did you go abroad without a word back then?" Her expression turned helpless. "Isn't it obvious?" she said quietly. "I didn't want the person I liked to hate me." I was about to ask more when I was interrupted. "Victor," Rina called, running over. Her eyes landed on Lisa first. She muttered under her breath, "Why is she everywhere?" Then she reached out and grabbed my arm. "Come on, take me home," she said. "I just bought 2 new dresses, and I want to show you. I haven't eaten anything tonight because of this dress. Let's go home and you can cook me some noodles." She looked at me with wide eyes. 3 months without seeing each other. Don't you miss me? I think about you every day." It was as if she had forgotten we had broken up. She kept going with her sweet talk, but I wasn't interested in playing along anymore. "Broke up a long time ago," I said plainly. With that, I took Lisa's hand and started to walk away. Rina hurried after us. "Baby, I was wrong," she pleaded. "I shouldn't have caused so much trouble. We've been together for 2 years. Can you really just end it like this?" I stopped suddenly, turned around, and asked her directly, "Then why did you keep raising the bride price? Asking for money for the car, for clothes, and testing me under the pretense of proving my loyalty? Why did you brag to your friends about how foolish I was? Did you not care about our relationship then?" Rina was left speechless. People passing by from the banquet hall cast strange glances our way. "Victor," Lisa tugged at my fingers, her fingers tickling my palm as she clung to my arm. In a coquettish tone, she said, "How much longer do you want to make me stand here? I'm so tired. Just hold me." She raised her arms around my neck, and I naturally lifted her up. Even though we were just pretending, I felt a strange pang in my heart. Rina stared at us with rage. Lisa snuggled closer, burying her head in my chest, her Valentino shoes swaying. "Ex-girlfriend, know your place," Rina snapped, stomping her feet as she watched us leave. In the elevator, I set Lisa down. She brushed her skirt, a fleeting look of wistfulness crossing her face. Leaning against the wall, she asked softly, "What's going on? Thinking of rekindling old flames?" I shrugged. "I don't go back to past relationships. Aren't you getting older? Don't you have a serious date?" she teased, smiling with her head tilted. I wouldn't mind dating you," she added, almost jokingly. I took it as a joke and shifted back to our earlier conversation. "Why did you suddenly go abroad back then?" I asked. She looked at the elevator display, her tone a mix of truth and jest. "The person I liked didn't like me back. I was too shy as a girl, so I ran away, but I couldn't forget him all these years." I feigned indignation. "Who's the blind fool? I'll beat him up for you." She turned to look at me, a faint smile on her lips. "Who's the blind fool?" she said, her gaze intense and direct. If she hadn't looked away after 3 seconds, I might have shamelessly suspected she was talking about me. Lisa shifted the topic. "My dad's health isn't great lately, and with Grandpa getting older, they're pressuring me to get married. It's really annoying. You know how picky my dad is? He doesn't like many people." Mentioning uncle, you made me shiver unconsciously. When we were kids, her family was the best off. Her dad was strict, old-fashioned, with high expectations for Lisa. In today's terms, he was always wary of boys. He was kind to me as a neighbor, but he left a deep impression. Lisa looked at me, chin raised with a shy smile. "Victor, do me a favor? Can you pretend to be my boyfriend?" she asked softly. I agreed to help her, not just because she had helped me act in front of Rina multiple times, but also because of the growing connection we've developed over the past 2 years. In just half a month, things moved quickly. She introduced me as her boyfriend and took me to her home for dinner. The dinner went smoothly, and her parents were overly enthusiastic. Because of the long-standing relationship between our families, their attitude toward my parents remained the same. They even listed a lavish dower shares in various branches. Of the group, $8.88 million in cash and 2 villas. I held the list trembling in my hands. Grandpa, you kept urging us to get engaged as soon as possible. That evening, after leaving Lisa's house, my phone rang. I was driving, so I couldn't answer. Lisa glanced at it. It's an unknown number. Should I answer? Go ahead, I said casually. If it's a sales call, just hang up, I added. Could it be a private call? She teased, but she didn't hesitate to answer. Who is this? Oh, I'm Victor's girlfriend, she said confidently. I wasn't sure what the person on the other end of the phone said, but she responded affectionately. Tilda baby, don't mess around. I'm on the phone. It was Rina again, since the banquet she'd been calling. From different numbers, repeatedly begging for reconciliation. After hanging up, Lisa softly said, Sorry I said those things without asking, but the smile tugging at her lips revealed her mood wasn't entirely serious. I replied, You also helped me deal with this annoying situation? Father is already starting to prepare for the engagement. What should we do? I asked. It's just an engagement, not a marriage, she shrugged cautiously. Would it be difficult for you to get engaged to me? I asked, feeling a bit amused. Engaging to the daughter of Yuxing Group, my childhood sweetheart, the girl I had a crush on, felt like a significant step. The sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating Lisa's face and making her look extraordinarily beautiful. Honestly, I felt like I was the one gaining from this arrangement, and it was just an act, after all. Seeing my silence, Lisa added, You can lead the new project, and I'll give you an extra 20% of the profits. She had invested $5 million, and I contributed purely through my technology. Splitting profits 50-50 already generous on her part. Now she was offering an additional 20%. I shook my head with a smile. No need. Just being with a beauty like you is already a win for me. Lisa laughed heartily, and I played the role of her fiancé, accompanying her to various events. Through this, I met many important connections. Our interactions grew more intimate over time. Sometimes her simple gestures, like brushing her hair back or holding my arm, made my heart race. As days went by, I sometimes found it hard to tell whether we were still pretending or not. Grandpa, you was more eager than I expected, personally. Selecting an auspicious date for the engagement party, he sent out many invitations to the upper class, and many people attended on the day. The party was held in a rooftop garden, beautifully decorated with musicians playing melodies in the corners. Are you nervous, fiancé? In a champagne-colored high-slit dress, attracted many men's attention. You better treat. Are Lisa well? Or you'll have to answer to me, her cousin joked, raising his fist playfully. Don't disappoint her. She's been in love with you for years and refuses to marry anyone else, he added seriously, glancing at Lisa. Looked over and saw Lisa smiling and winking at me. After he left, I whispered, Miss you. You should give me a heads up for such emotional performances. She covered her mouth, laughing even more. I really do want to marry you, she said softly. Throughout the evening, several of Lisa's admirers, jealous and eager, came to toast us. Her arm, initially linked with mine, gradually slipped down, and she intertwined her fingers with mine. Her hands were soft, delicate, and smooth, much different from Rina's dry skin. A camera shutter clicked, snapping me out of my thoughts. Realized we had crossed a line. At some point, Lisa and I had started kissing. She had her arms around my neck, hanging on to me, her lips softly pecking mine over and over. When I didn't move, she fluttered her eyes open slightly, revealing a complex emotion, perhaps romantic, perhaps genuine. The atmosphere was romantic, or maybe it was the blessings from friends and family. With just one look, I was lost. In that tender moment, I vaguely heard her say, I've waited for this day for 6 years. He said that even if he's handsome, you wouldn't like him. But in the end, I still got you, she whispered. Suddenly, a memory flashed. Through my mind, 6 years ago, during summer vacation, she brought me to movie tickets. She said she wanted to watch a film with me. We both had a crush on each other then, so I agreed without hesitation. During the movie, she leaned over and whispered, Don't you think that actor's really handsome? He looks like you, and I like him very much. She spoke softly, her voice growing even quieter halfway through. so I didn't catch the part where she said he looked like me. She kept rambling about how much she liked him, acting like a fangirl, and it was driving me crazy. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and said, even if he's handsome, he wouldn't like you. What you're saying is really annoying. She pouted and glared at me, saying, well, don't regret it. I'll never tell you again. That's when I suddenly realized she'd been trying to confess to me all along, indirectly expressing her feelings. I was speechless looking back. I'd been pretty oblivious and kind of a jerk back then. After the engagement party, Lisa and I both posted photos on our social media. To my surprise, the main photo on her grid was one of us kissing red carpet. Flowers, her white dress, fiery red lips, and a passionate kiss. I hadn't realized I was that caught up in the moment. Since it was the engagement of Yuxin's heiress, it naturally drew attention from the media.
Once the photos went public.
Many outlets sent their congratulations, and it even trended online. The next morning, Rina was crouching at my doorstep. I thought she was here to cause trouble again. Victor, I was wrong. Please don't break up with me, she suddenly blurted out. The fact that she apologized shocked me, her usual attitude. In our 2 years of dating was high and proud, never admitting fault. I hesitated, trying to close the door, but Rina blocked it with her foot and leaned her body against it. She held the door to stop me from shutting it. I was worried about hurting her. Rina, we've been broken up for over half a year, and I'm engaged now, I said hesitantly. Before I could finish, she suddenly leaned in, burying herself in my arms, hugging my waist tightly. When I tried to push her away, she kept coming back. Finally, she squatted by the door, clutching my pant leg, refusing to let go. Tears and snot were streaming down her face as she cried messily, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I don't want to break up with you. I thought you'd never get mad. I looked down at the top of her head. So you kept testing my limits, huh? I asked quietly. Every time I proposed, did you find it funny to brag to your friends about how foolish I was? Did you raise the bride price again and again because you really wanted to marry me? Back then, I was the only one who truly cherished this relationship. No matter how hurtful her words or actions were, I tried to meet her demands. I was silent for a few seconds, then slowly tightened her grip on my hand. Isn't that what love is? She said softly, if you want to marry a princess, you should overcome obstacles and pass tests. How could you turn around and get engaged to someone else? Hearing her say that so matter-of-factly, I suddenly wanted to laugh. What a fool I was. I was such a fool. Yesterday's engagement party put me in a good mood, so I didn't want to be harsh. Paused for 2 seconds, then looked down at her. Rina, it's impossible for us to get back together. Stop bothering me, I said firmly. She looked confused, not understanding why I wouldn't want to reconcile after she had lowered herself to apologize. She wiped her tears with her hand. But I don't want to be apart from you, she choked out. Don't we promise to always be together, no matter what? We were so close to getting married. How could you just give up? She squatted there, recounting many memories of our past, the things I had done for her. Back then, I did love her, maybe, even worshipped her. But a relationship isn't sustained by one person alone. No matter how intense the love, it eventually wears out. Looking back now, I see only bitterness and no happiness. Just the effort I put in that was one-sided. I pried her fingers off one by one and said calmly, I won't get back with you. Don't come looking for me again. Looking at you makes me feel sick, I added. Rina kept apologizing, her crying messy and incoherent. I knew she wasn't back because she realized her mistakes or because she loved me deeply. It was because the last banquet made her believe that marrying me could give her a better life. After a while, I finally pried her hands off the door and said, leave when you're done crying. Rina's body stiffened, and the light in her eyes dimmed at my words. In the end, she kept repeating one phrase, the internet didn't say that. I responded by closing the door. The hallway was silent, and the motion-censored lights had turned off. Rina went from squatting to sitting on the floor, staring at the gray doormat at the entrance. It was a style she liked, fluffy, pink, soft underfoot. Suddenly, she remembered when she first moved in. Victor kept the house very tidy. She recalled reading online that to establish dominance in a boyfriend's house, you should redecorate it. So she nitpicked. saying this or that didn't look good. Victor, being kind and patient, indulged her, buying everything she liked, piece by piece. Almost all the soft furnishings and decorations were replaced. He would smile and ask if she was satisfied. Rina felt satisfied, but she always put on a displeased face, saying, "It's just okay. What's there to be proud of? Make dinner." She tugged at the corner of her mouth, thinking back to those happy times. As she smiled, her gaze fell back on the gray doormat. Suddenly, she couldn't smile anymore. That day, Victor packed up everything related to her into boxes. She had deliberately left some things behind, hoping for an excuse to come back. But Victor threw out the things she left. She hugged her knees, feeling the coldness of the floor. Her heart seemed frozen too. Eventually, a neighbor from the same floor, startled by her crouched in the corner, contacted the property management to have her removed. Rina had nowhere to stay and had been living at her friend Maria's house. Maria's boyfriend complained privately about Rina freeloading, but acted friendly on the surface. Feeling heartbroken, Rina sought comfort from them, blaming the breakup entirely on Victor. She had always had a good impression of Maria's boyfriend, and with his attentive care, she started to fall for him. One day, Maria came home from work to find Rina in bed with her boyfriend. The man immediately claimed Rina had seduced him and slapped her several times. Their friendship turned into hostility. Rina was kicked out. She wanted to find Victor again, but she remembered him saying her presence made him sick, so she didn't dare show up in front of him. After crying for a few days, she started frequenting bars and nightclubs, partying until dawn, drinking herself into a stupor. A few times she woke up in a hotel surrounded by used condom wrappers, unable to remember whether she had been with one person or multiple. Rina cried long and hard, recalling how kind Victor had been to her. Since graduation, she had relied on Victor's support with no real skills of her own. She could only lean on her looks to seek love in nightlife venues. But her personality had been spoiled by Victor, and she looked down on those without money. There was no genuine love in the nightlife. Signmen used her and left. Others spent her money. Over time, Rina became more and more depraved, wandering from place to place. Probably due to her many affairs, she discovered she was sick. Waiting for her appointment at the hospital, she sat quietly in a corner. Suddenly, she overheard nurses talking about a newly listed company. She stood up abruptly when she heard Victor's name. Over the years, he had been doing better and better. The project from the Industry Exchange Conference had been highly praised, and his startup was thriving. She thought Victor was just angry with her. Otherwise, how could he have gotten engaged so quickly? But the next year, they really got married. The news was full of their wedding photos, and Victor looked more accomplished than when he was with her. Rina, like a voyeur, searched everywhere for information, trying to spy on his current life. Was it all just an act? As the only daughter of a wealthy family, how could she be so easily married? Victor must be worse off than she was, probably just a superficial marriage. She prayed every day that her suspicions were true. That one day Victor would be kicked out, and if he apologized, she might reluctantly take him back. By chance, she heard Victor was giving a speech at his alma mater. When Rina arrived, the speech had just ended. Students with admiration in their eyes surrounded Victor. To hide her scars, Rina wore long sleeves even in the summer, making her stand out in the crowd. Victor's gaze swept over her with indifference and detachment. He recognized her, but looked at her like a stranger. Rina felt a sharp pain in her chest from his cold stare. But then, Victor's eyes softened, and he smiled, extending his hand. Rina felt as if she had gone from hell to heaven, so full of hope and excitement. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something to break the awkward silence. But she saw a woman passing by, and Victor stepped forward, taking her hand and leading her to the car. "Wow, Mr. Yi's wife is even more beautiful than in the photos. And her figure is amazing," someone remarked. Right," another agreed. They had grown up together. Childhood sweetheart Sand. She had once confessed her love, which had come true. "I believe in love again." The car's taillights disappeared completely. Rina's words caught in her throat. She didn't want to hear others praising Victor's wife. That position should have been hers. After a long moment, she softly spoke the words she hadn't managed to say earlier. Victor, long time no see.